Okay, so normally I upload YouTube videos and I'm doing a kick live right now, so we're gonna try it out this way. I want to do this video kind of in one take and I'll upload it to the YouTube. But anyways, I haven't uploaded in a while. It's been a minute, but we're back and I'll be trying to upload more consistently again. And there's a lot of different catalysts coming up. We have the Budapest Major around the corner, so I should be able to make a video there. But anyways, I want to talk about the current state of the market and more specifically the Covert Knife Tradeups, which have been, storming the community recently. It's been a major update, something we've never seen. It's one of the greatest changes I've ever seen to the CS2 economy or the entire CS economy. And Valve in this update did the unthinkable with the retakes update, I believe it's called. They changed the entire function of the market, more specifically how the trade ups work. Basically, you can do 5 coverts now, obviously, to do a trade up for a knife. And they also changed how floats are calculated when you do the trade ups. So it's a completely different system. We've never seen the function or the mathematics of the market change like this before. And it's very significant. It's just like the first trade holds and stuff like that we've seen before. So very significant updates. Now, what I think at the moment with this trend, I believe that a lot of the coverts have ran up. I'm sure you guys have some reds in your inventory and you've seen the coverts run to a very high level. And I think it might be time to maybe capitalize on some of those profits. I think things are going to slow down. I think the trade up valuations have reached their respectable ROIs and sort of found their equilibrium pricing with respect to the value of doing the trade ups. So I think things are going to slow down. I'm not saying people are going to stop doing trade ups. Of course people are going to be doing those. But I think the insane price run ups are going to kind of taper off for a bit and things might be finding their stable pricing at the moment. Now, for example, let's go look at something like the Buzzkill. I have a buddy that has one of these minimal wear Buzzkills that he just sold. This has had one of the craziest run-ups because this is part of the glove collection, and obviously you have your hedge mazes in that collection. You have your Pandora's boxes, stuff like that. So those are like $40,000, $50,000 chase items or chase gloves. So it makes sense why some of these had some of the biggest run-ups. Now, I'm just saying if you bought these back, a few months ago for like 20, 50, $30, whatever they were going for. So they were just trading along sideways for years because Reds really had no, ultimate purpose, right? So basically they've been trading sideways for years, and since this update came out, the items that are most sought after for the trade ups have shot up. So I would say sell some of these, or maybe take some profits if you're sitting on a bunch of them, but there's a good chance that these are going to go much higher in the future, or they might just trade sideways. Now, the ROI is still super significant for the amount of money you need to spend, but I do think people are going to, throw in the towel a bit and not be chasing these because these are effectively $3,000, $4,000 trade ups for something like the Buzzkill. So I do think the initial hype is over. I think that this first pump, this is exactly what a pump is. I think this is ready for a retracement, so don't be greedy. You're sitting on a nice profit of several $100s, depending on how many of these you own, of course. Don't be greedy. Take some profits because I do think this trend is going to slow down. Now, in terms of the future of knives, I do think knives are being crafted through the roof. And if you look at some of the numbers, we'll take a look at some of the different supply across the board of all these knives and different styles. I do think roughly across the board, you see 15 to 20% of all the new knives created were made in the last 3 weeks or so across the board. Now, that's just a rough number I'm throwing out there, but I'll show you some examples in a moment. Now, I think some of the more demand knives that are like the Dopplers, stuff that people chase a lot more, especially some of these gloves too. The higher demand covert trade-ups might be closer to 20% range. They might be higher, so 20% of the entire supply may have came in the last 3 weeks is what I'm thinking. We'll double check some of those examples where you have the Huntsman Vanilla, which is less of the Huntsman Vanilla is not something you maybe want to trade up for, but for example, if you look at the Huntsman Vanilla, that's around 11% in the last 3 weeks. The total amount of supplies came in the last 3 weeks, around 11% of those. So those aren't being chased as much, obviously. That's why they have a lower percentage versus some of the butterflies. But yeah, let's take a quick look because I'm just yapping here. Now, let's look at the butterfly Doppler Phase 3, for example. So here we have on float. This is a rough estimate, by the way. No one knows the actual count for sure. This is just to give us a rough idea. So we have 2,600 here in total float database. Now, if we go and you put a couple pieces of data in here in the last 18 days since that update came out, roughly, you have a total of, let's see what it gives us here. So 518, and then I think there was, 2,600 before. Let's double check that. 518, roughly 2,600 they said before. So yeah, that's around 19 or 20% of the knives came into circulation just 18 days ago. So 20% of them in existence just came in the last 3 weeks, which is pretty crazy on that. If you look at a very high tier item here, you have the butterfly ruby. This is another one to look at here. So you have the total population of these, or the total supply is 1,300. If we put in our data here, the last 18 days, we search it on float. And let's calculate this one. So 266 of these came in the last 18 days or 3 weeks roughly. And that's around 20%. Now every 7 days we're going to see another cycle of more items being crafted. And the trade hold's going to end. So every 7 days you're going to see a rotational cycle of more of these knives coming in. Well, every day more will come in because people unbox them different days, but from the first update it's like a 7-day rotation based off the first initial trade holds. Let's take a look at the skeleton knife vanilla, another very popular knife that a lot of people like, one of the newer ones too. So this one has 1,500 in total supply, and then if we look in the last 18 days, 3 weeks, we can see how many more of these were crafted. So it was roughly around 15,000. I'm just ballparking it. So around 25% of these came in the last 18 days or 3 weeks. Actually crazy. So a lot of these have been traded up because I guess there's so many more of these newer reds from like the fever case, for example, and people are just trading up these to the limits, I guess. So another crazy one to look at. This had one of the highest supplies in comparison to the others. Another one we can look at is the Huntsman knife lore, and so we can see there's about 5,700 of these in existence. We'll do the same thing here. Take a look at the database in the last 18 days or so. Is it not working? It's not letting me search. Hold on. Float just broke for me. Oh, okay. So I was actually, I already had the search in there. So we were actually at 18,000 total. And let's double check. I think it was 5,000 or 5,700. Let's double check that just to make sure it didn't have a messed up search. Yeah. So we'll do 5,700 divided by 1,800 or 18,000. And so, yeah, 31% of these lures just came into supply in the last 18 days. And then we'll do a couple other ones. We did the vanilla skeleton already. Let's do Karambit Doppler. I just want to give you guys a couple of these examples to give you a little bit of insight. Now, obviously, these numbers are ballpark. This is just fetching the API data from different profiles. So this number could be very skewed. It could be very off. But it will give you a rough idea of the pattern or trend. Let me take this out again. And I hope this makes sense. I know I've been a bit rusty. I haven't been making videos in a while. So now let's double check this one here. So you have 8,700 total of the Karambit P2, by the way, P2 Dopplers. And then in the last 18 days, we had 1,600 of them come in. Oops. And so, yeah, roughly 19.5 or 20% of these just came into supply in the last 18 days. And then maybe we'll do one more example here. Yeah, we'll do, a flip knife fade, and we'll double check this one as well. Do I have the, yeah, okay. So this one looks like there's 6,700 of these in total supply at the moment. And then we go in the last 18 days. Is it 6,700? Oh my god, I might have just forgot. Looks like 17%. Let me double check that. I was looking at the other monitor for a second. Threw me off. Yeah, so around 17 or 18% of the flip knives fade, which is one of my favorite skins. Actually, let's take a look at these. Yeah, these are cool as hell. Are now in circulation. So it's about 18% of them just came in the last, 3 weeks or so. Now, what do I expect knife prices to do? So based on the summary or some of the data I just shown you here, I think that some of the low demand tiers, like the lower tier skins, you have like your Damascus, your Scorch, your what's that other, the blue camo, I can't remember, the something water, blue water, whatever it's called. Oh my god, I'm glitching out. I believe those lower tier skins will typically stay lower because more of the supply is going to come in. Obviously, I think the whole reds across the board will slowly kind of chipper down all the low supply or the high supply, low tier demand skins. I think those will kind of stay sideways or trickle down over the years. But I do think your high demand will, obviously they'll see more supply because people are going to be crafting these up. I do think they will see the highest potential. of, you know, holding their price. And I think high demand will always be sort of high demand based on, you know, the future of the game and everything. But I do think most of the knives will be sideways in price, if not down, especially the newer knives like the skeletons that just came out. I think a lot of those patterns are inevitably going to go down because the supplies, they're going to be unboxed. The trade ups are more prevalent today than some of the older finishes that are more expensive. But I do think in general, the major hype that we've seen with the red Covert Tradeups has slowed down. I think the craziness is kind of going to be over for a bit. Nobody's going to be able to fork out like something like this, like the Buzzkill, like $800 Canadian a trade up. So that times 5, you know what I mean? These are thousands of dollars to do something that can be, you know, not pay out that great as an ROI. So the risk and reward is definitely going to be there. You're definitely going to have higher ROIs, but the amount of money people are going to shovel out, I think, is going to slow down. And, you know, I could be wrong. It could pick up. People go even crazier. I don't know how it's going to work, but I do think if you have some reds, I do think there's going to be some pullbacks, some corrections in these prices, especially like the Buzzkill, some of these ones that went fucking nuts. I do think these are going to pull back, and I think it's good to lock in profits while you can. There are some undervalued trade ups still. I think there is some reds like the Prismas, maybe some couple random collections. I don't know, like Danger Zone. I'm not too sure. I think there are some cheaper reds that are kind of underrated, but I don't want to make this video talking about like the Buzzkill specifically. I think the Dragonfire is another one that's part of this collection as well. So keep an eye on those. Ooh, I didn't mean to go to this website. I was just trying to find the other red in that collection. I think it's the Dragonfire for the glove collection. But yeah, lock in profits. Let me know your thoughts on where these reds are going to go. Let me know where you think the pricing of the overall knife market's going to go. I do think the high tier skins, I'm a big skins guy now because I think knives are kind of overrated. No, they're not overrated, but I do think that with the red trade ups, knives are going to be less like exclusive to some degree. And I do think the rare skins from like the Canals, the Norse, the St. Mark's, I do think those old skins that are discontinued, sort of untouchable, I think those are going to continue to run up. But yeah, I'm just yapping here. So let me know what you guys think on the red trade ups. Let me know if you've done any red trade ups yourself. Hopefully you didn't get anything too bad. I'm thinking about doing some red trade ups on a video. I'm not rich at all. I'm actually broke, so I don't think I'm gonna be doing too many. But we'll try hitting like 2 or 3 sometime in a video, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. So let me know your thoughts. Hopefully the risk and reward has been working in your favor if you have done some of these trade ups. And yeah, I hope you guys got something out of this video. I do think knives are going to trade sideways for a bit. I think demand's always going to be in demand, so I'm not too worried about like the high tier Dopplers. If you have Dopplers or rubies, I think those things are already bouncing back very well, and I don't think you should be panicking anymore. I think the overall market has actually digested this update pretty well. I know there's a lot of panic. People trade reverse. It was a fucking gong show. Like, believe me, I know I've been making too many videos, but I was following on Twitter, and it was just a shit, like absolute shit show. The amount of people getting trade backed on was kind of unreal. Last thing I will mention, we'll just take a quick look before I end this video, just to show you guys some of these reds, how much they've went up. It's just, what a crazy time in this market. If this even loads for me. It's crazy to see some of these jumps all across the board. Imagine having some sort of bot here to buy all these up. You go from 20 up to, well, I was like 50 right away, and then you're up to 100 Canadian almost on all these. And then some of your more demand ones went crazy. 37 up to 200 Canadian, absolutely fucking mental. Inheritance. Now this is one you don't really want to trade up, but oh yeah, this has been sticking around. Nobody's trading those up. Angry Mob, this one I think went crazy too. Yeah, this one went absolutely berserk. These are the perfect ones. If you had a ton of these guys, this is what my video is about. If you are one of the guys that had a bunch of these sitting around, this is a perfect time to sell. Don't be greedy. I think this can pull back to 50, 60 bucks back. People are getting slapped up on trade ups. There's no way the ROI is going to hold up and people are going to be continuing to pay these prices. I mean, I could be wrong, but I do think that the ship has sailed there, and it's time to get back to normalcy a little bit on some of these. Obviously the rare collections will maintain some of their demand because people are absolute addicts and they love doing this stuff anyway. But yeah, craziness. Take some profits. Hope you guys enjoyed this stream or video, and I might have to do some cuts because it was kind of a yap at the start, but I do think I got my point across for the most part. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Take care. Have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next time. Later.